Automotive in Bement, your retail hardware and auto parts store in Bement.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet Service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4 lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Increases in substance abuse and mental health battles are spiking across the country, but the Clinton Police Department has engaged in a statewide initiative to help individuals find help locally. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers told the Hart Media Group they encounter individuals struggling with either substance abuse or mental health issues, and the previous limitations to help them were a big challenge.
I talk often about early in my career, you back up 30 years, I would say that a vast majority of the things that we dealt with had a substance abuse faction behind them, whether that was alcohol or substance abuse, whether it was domestic violence or burglary and theft and things of that nature, property crimes. It seemed like the vast majority had some type of a substance abuse faction behind them. And now we deal with so much still substance use disorder, but also mental health. And so, you know, we're adapting to that over the last several years with more training, trying to be more prepared for those types of things, but it's still a very understaffed system and an undersupported system to deal with some of the mental health that we do. And so our officers and our EMTs and everybody, all of the stakeholders involved, we're seeing an uptick in mental health responses there. You know, when it comes to substance use disorder, a lot of times substance use disorder and mental health crisis oftentimes are coexisting, but also they also oftentimes have a criminal element involved, whether that's a lot of times it's crimes against property, but it could be domestic violence or trespass type issues, disturbance type situations. And so, you know, recognizing that whether there's a law to be enforced when we, you know, oftentimes we're the peacekeeper, we're the first responder in so many of those situations that we get there, we assess what's happened, what's going on, and we take it from there. And there's multiple avenues, whether that be an arrest, whether that be a referral to a deflection program or something like that. You know, oftentimes police officers, they are the first point of contact along with EMS and sometimes fire. But oftentimes the law enforcement is the first step in that, the first point of contact in many of all of those situations. And so, you know, we're in a better place today than we were even a year ago.
Enter the DART program, or Deflection Avenue Reconnection Team, which Chief Lowers explains connects people who may be going through a crisis and provides a person with a lived experience to respond to that person and be there for them.
You know, we're a very proactive agency with our partner with the DART, which is the Deflection Avenues Reconnection Team. DART is our local multi-county organization of TASK, which is Treatment Alternatives for Safe Communities. And what happens there is when one of our officers responds to a scene and he recognizes that there's maybe a substance abuse faction there, maybe there's not a crime, maybe there is or isn't a crime to be enforced and arrest to be made, but even if they recognize that, you know, maybe the root of this issue is a mental health or substance use disorder problem, we can make a referral to DART. And what they do is DART sends out within the next 24 to 48 hours, DART's going to send out a deflection specialist. And this is oftentimes a person who is trained in that crisis response, but also a person with lived experience. And, you know, for me to sit down with an addict and talk about and try to motivate and inspire to guide that person to a safer path, I'm all about that, and I'm very passionate about that. But when you can provide a person who has walked in their shoes with that same message, it's so much more impactful to them to be able to talk to somebody who has lived their life, who has walked in their shoes. And I think that degree of rapport coming from someone like that has been very, very successful for us. They're not always successful. I know Chief Meister was on here just recently talking about Lincoln and Logan County's new program, which is equivalent to our DART. It's their task program. The Clinton Police Department has been extremely proactive with that and very supportive, and it has been very successful for us on many, many occasions.
According to Chief Lowers, the DART program complements programs like the Safe Passage and ROSC programs in Clinton. Those programs can help individuals struggling to overcome barriers that may prevent them from seeking help.
That ties in with the Safe Passage program that we've offered in the past, providing a fast track to get individuals into treatment who are ready and willing. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, Seth, it's nearly impossible to help someone who's not ready and willing to help themselves.
Right.
That is very difficult. It's very discouraging. I'm oftentimes talking to the family members and the close loved ones of that person struggling. What can we do? Well, it's nearly impossible to help someone that's not ready to help themselves. But when they are, we need to be that bridge to be able to help guide them to those resources to be able to do so. And I think we're doing a good job of that. I think we've come a long ways with recognition and trying to eliminate or at least decrease stigma through things like ROSC. We've got our local ROSC program, the Recovery Oriented Systems of Care, providing more resources and support services for those living in recovery in our small community. One of the things that we struggle with in a small community is our available resources that we have here locally. And then for those individuals who are seeking a lifestyle in recovery, oftentimes transportation is an issue for them. While those services might be offered in Bloomington or Decatur, oftentimes transportation is an issue. So through things like ROSC and DART, I guess we just have more acceptance and acknowledgement of we've got an issue. We don't just have an issue here in Clinton, DeWitt County. It's everywhere, but we're addressing it. And we're bringing people together to provide those resources to try to help guide in a more positive path. And I'm extremely passionate about that and thankful that we do have.
Chief Lowers touts the DART program's success even in just the last 9 months and positive outcomes for individuals. He points to this time of the year with seasonal depression disorder being a catalyst for those who struggle. Clinton High School is finally initiating a change that has been discussed internally for years. On the WHOW High School Road Tour Wednesday, Clinton High School Principal Jerry Wayne told the Hart Media Group that while they currently assess students based on a quarter grade system, they will soon be transitioning to a semester grade system next year.
We as a building, we've had some of these discussions in prior years, but we really started pushing a little bit more of questioning why do we have at the high school level quarter grades? Because in reality, when it comes to a kid's transcript, which goes on to college or whether it's the workforce or whatever, all they get are semester grades. That's the only thing that really happens. And so we started having some conversation about why are we staying with these quarter grade ideas? And as I talked with my building leadership team over the course of this year, we've made the decision that next year we are going to transition away from quarter grades, and we're just going to end up having semester grades. So
Wayne indicates that the change will not make a big impact on students or families, but it will help them better align with the standards of other area schools and prepare students for the typical grading system of higher education. Preparing students for life after high school has been a focus for Wayne throughout his career in Clinton. He says that while minor, this is a good addition to all the ways the high school supports its students. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more, DeWittDailyNews.com.
Looking to improve your soybean yield and profitability in 2026? Don't miss this year's Field Advisor Forum, Seeding Success 2026. Join the Illinois Soybean Association on January 15th at the Atkins Golf Club at the University of Illinois for a day filled with agronomic insights, on-farm research, panel discussions on crop production strategies, and much more. Attend in person or online. Register for free at fieldadvisor.org, then click Attend. Funded by the Illinois Soybean Checkoff Program.
This is Seth Lawrence, News and Program Director for WHOW and WEZC. We take pride in being Clinton and Central Illinois' local radio stations each and every day, 7 days a week. What does local news mean? Here's a sample.
So the vote last night changed that. So the next year, all of the kindergartners and all of the first graders will be at Lincoln School, and then all of the preschool students would be at Douglas.
The park is my main concern, to get security out there and surveillance out there.
We heard earlier this week that they have agreed to our last proposal. The proposal that we did does just that. It gives them a fair wage.
You hear the local people that make the news every day, 7 days a week on the big 1520 AM, 92.3 FM, and 106.5 FM WHOW, and on your easy choice for soft hits, 95.9 FM WEZC.
If the flu's got you down, the Warner Hospital and Health Services Walk-In Clinic can help you feel better fast. CEO Paul Skowron inviting you to make us your backup plan to better health. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. The Argenta-Oreana Bombers fought off a fourth-quarter comeback effort from the Tri-County Titans to get the 74-72 win in Lincoln Prairie Conference boys basketball action on Wednesday night in Argenta. The Bombers had the 39-32 lead at halftime and led 60-51 going into the fourth quarter. The Titans would fight back in an attempt to steal the win, but came just 2 points short in the end. Argenta-Oreana was led by Carter Logue, who scored 24 points. Jackson Finch added 21 points, while Cameron Stokes had 15. Isaiah Parks contributed 12 points. Chase Road led all scorers with 28 points for Tri-County. Preston Bancroft had 18 points, while Anthony Smith added 13. Kali Lee had 11 points. With the win, Argenta-Oreana improves to 7-10 and 3-1 in Lincoln Prairie Conference play. Tri-County falls to 8-11 and 1-2 in the Lincoln Prairie. The Bombers go on the road to play Heritage on Friday. Tip-off is at 7:15 p.m. Keaton Wagler scored 20 of his 22 points in the second half, and the number 13 Illinois Fighting Illini beat the Northwestern Wildcats 79-68 on Wednesday night for their season-high sixth consecutive victory. Tomislav Vucevic added 21 points and 7 rebounds as Illinois won at Northwestern for the first time since January 29, 2022. They improved to 14-3 and 5-1 in the Big Ten. The Illini had dropped their last 3 games in Evanston. Jaden Reed led Northwestern with a career-high 28 points, including 20 in the second half. Nick Martinelli had 20 points. The Wildcats fall to 8-9 and 0-6 in the Big Ten. They shot 39% or 22 for 56 from the field in their 4th consecutive loss. Northwestern trimmed an 11-point deficit to 53-47 on Reed's jumper with 13 minutes and 28 seconds left, but Illinois responded with a 9-0 run. Jake Davis made a 3-pointer, and Wagler drove inside for a 3-point play. Wagler then connected from deep, making it 62-47 with 9 minutes and 43 seconds remaining. After Reed and Martinelli rallied the Wildcats once again, Wagler set up Vucevic for a 3-pointer that made it 72-63 with 2 minutes and 53 seconds to go. Wagler, one of the top freshmen in the country, finished with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. He shot 7 for 12 from the field in the second half. Kylan Boswell had 13 points and 6 assists for Illinois, which used its superior size to outscore Northwestern 34-18 in the paint. Izvich and David Mirkovic made consecutive three-pointers during a 10-2 run that helped Illinois to a 38-33 halftime lead. Boswell scored 9 points for the Illini in the first half, and Martinelli had 11 points for the Wildcats at the break. Illinois hosts Minnesota on Saturday. Northwestern hosts number 8 Nebraska on Saturday. Xavier Hall scored 16 points as Indiana State beat Illinois State 94-89 on Wednesday night. Hall shot 5 for 8 and 2 for 5 from three-point range and 4 for 5 from the free throw line for the Sycamores, who improved to 9-9 and 2-5 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Enel St. Bernard and Sterling Young scored 14 points apiece. Chase Walker led the way for the Redbirds with 21 points and 2 blocks. They fall to 12-6 and 4-3 in the MVC. Tyreek Coleman added 18 points and 2 steals for Illinois State. Bowden Skunberg had 12 points. Ian Scott scored 10 points in the first half for Indiana State, which led 51-42 at the break. Indiana State turned a 6-point second half lead into a 14-point advantage with an 8-0 run to make it a 72-58 lead with 11 minutes and 49 seconds left in the half. Nikola Vucevic made a tie-breaking layup with 4 seconds remaining, and the Chicago Bulls overcame Bryce Sensabaugh's career-high 43 points to beat the Utah Jazz 128-126 on Wednesday night. Vucevic scored 35 points to lead the Bulls, who had 5 reserves finish in double figures. Isaac Okoro was the only other starter in double figures with 12 points for a Bulls team playing without Josh Giddey because of a strained left hamstring. Sensabaugh scored 21 in the first quarter, the most by a player off the bench in a period since play-by-play tracking for all 4 quarters began in 1996 and 97. He helped carry Utah in a game it played without leading scorer Lauri Markkanen because of an illness. The Jazz, who trailed by 12 with 5.5 minutes remaining, rallied to tie it at 126 on Sensabaugh's layup with 28.5 seconds